Invincible Season 2 has just wrapped up, and Invincible is without a doubt one of the most underrated superhero shows of all time. Season 2 of Invincible just wrapped up, and just like Season 1, I greatly enjoyed it. I think that this show is just so well done. I think a big reason for that is the characters. The writers did such a great job with the characters, and they are very grounded characters. I mean, when you think of any superhero show, any superhero movie, you think of these larger than life characters when at the end of the day, there are very little to no consequences and everything is just gonna be okay. But in Invincible, there are stakes and they deal with hard hitting real life things such as the trauma of loss and dealing with the stages of grief. They deal with troubles in relationships and they deal a lot with mental health. Like, even if, and they make a point of this, especially in this season, like, even if you feel like you're not alone and no one understands what you're going through, you're definitely not alone. And I just think they did such a fantastic job, and the writers of this show are unparalleled with how they did it, especially taking from the source material and adapting it. And speaking of which, the comic, this is no secret, it's one of my favorite comics ever. I think the character development, both in the show and in the comic, is unparalleled, and the comic is definitely one of the best long running comics of the past 20 years, hands down. I don't think it's really a contest. And this is one of the instances where, like, just like with Batman the Animated Series, the writers took the source material, changed it, even like with the creators and writer is part of creating the series, and just made it better. I think that the Invincible, the show, currently at the moment, end of season 2, is better than the Invincible comic book. I would even go as far to say as watch the show, skip the comic, because they make so many great changes in the show that when you go back to read the comic, it's just not as good, doesn't hold up as well just because they did so much better here. And if that's probably the highest praise I could ever give a comic adaptation show, is just to straight up skip the comic. But no, I think the season was so well done. The action, as always, was really good. I think this is one of the rare shows and rare instances where the intense action with this blood and gore and guts really actually adds to the show and adds to the stakes, as I was talking about earlier, because this show is brutal. This show is absolutely brutal. I mean, if like someone to compare it to, like if you think of like The Boys or like any other like big action flick, the action is brutal, and there are moments when you may not know if your favorite character is going to make it out alive, and that's perfect. I think they do such a great job building the tension and making you care and then scaring you a bit, because they definitely do try to scare you. They do such a great job of it. I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a hard hitting season, and I think one another big reason is, yeah, we have the fantastic writers, but we also have such a fantastic voice cast that I think probably make the show just that much better. I mean, in a lot of cases, there are a lot of voice actors that are very like symbolic. And I know I'm like, I mean, Matthew Mercer comes to mind. I know I'm going to list some here, but they really embody their role where even if you hear them, you just hear the character. I mean, we have Stephen Yeun as Invincible. We have J.K. Simmons, who's such a recognizable voice, playing Omni Man. We even have Optimus Prime, and they all just do such an amazing job and add so much to their characters into the show that it really wouldn't be the same without them. I mean, go look it up. There's so many people in the star-studded cast that if someone told me that at one point Robert Downey Jr. was in this show, I would probably believe him, just because even the side characters have an amazing star-studded cast. It's it's just crazy the amount of cameos. And I guess speaking of which, One thing that Invincible and Amazon Prime has done that even Warner Brothers and big studio names have been failing to do is they got rid of Ezra Miller. Ezra Miller played a character in season 1. He was a short-term villain and he came back in season 2 and they recast him. Thank God. No one else has done that yet, but Amazon actually did. And that's amazing. But the best part is they just proved all of us right. No one batted an eye when Ezra Miller is recast in this show. I get it. It is a little bit easier to do for voice actors. But still, I still think the point stands. Another great thing about the show, and again, just more hats off to the writers, is the humor in the show is really good. And there'll even be some moments where you laugh aloud. They transcribed some jokes that worked for comic book format and had it be an animation. And I think it did a really good job. In the comics, there is this one scene where Mark goes to a comic convention and they do some meta humor about drawing comic books to in ways they cut corners to save money. I thought that was really funny in the comic, and they did a similar thing here, but this time they did it with animation, and they do ways they cut corners with animation, and I thought that was really fun. It kept a really good tone with this show. Because like as I said, it could be really brutal, but the comedy and some of the comedic relief. I mean, there's not like any comedic relief characters. Every character is used purposefully, but the comedy really helps alleviate the really dark tones that this show could be. Because without the comedy, this show would probably be one of the most depressing shows ever. It's really bad. I mean, for any of you guys who have seen, it was like 2017, 2018 Apocalypse War that DC did, I'd probably be feeling very similar to what I felt during that film because I just felt drained. But the comedy and just the characters that have just a little bit of a lighter tone as they go up and down with their arcs, and they go with the mood to have some darker moments, more serious, with some lighter ones, really balance it out so well. I also think the villain of this season, Angstrom Levy, was done pretty well. They was introduced early in the season and picked him back up later. Very similar to how they did in the comics, but I think the voice actor did such a great job, especially with his monologues and especially towards in the season finale with his righteous rant. I think really sold me on the character and the voice actor. He is not. He's a very powerful villain, but I think he is very unique and well designed, and he fits so well in this universe. And the character development and everything he puts Mark through, I think, was really well done. It hit home, and it's season 3 is going to be painful. I'm really looking forward to it just because I know everything they did here is going to just be even better in season 3. However, one thing with the show is, despite all of its highs, as with every show, it's going to have some lows. But with that said, the lows of Invincible sometimes eclipse the highs of other shows. They do have some moments that slow down. In the finale in particular, there are some scenes that were a bit unnecessary. Ones that weren't necessarily needed to be there when we could have had other scenes to help move the story a little bit further along than what we got. The scenes in question are like 30 seconds to a minute long, which is, it's a trivial amount of time, but it would have been nice to get a little bit more, just because of how much I love the show. But frankly, other than that, I mean, there are some moments where they do take some time and even some considerable time to do some more world building, which some people may not enjoy, but I know I very much do. But just in case you're one of those people, just a heads up. It does happen, but I still think it's well done just because I think this is a very unique world, because I think it's just really well balanced, and it's a lot of fun. If you are a fan of Invincible, good news. Season 3 has been confirmed, and it is going to be a shorter release time than it was between season 1 and 2 due to COVID. It took about like 4 years, whereas for season 3 it'll probably take 1 to 2 years, which is amazing. For those who have not seen Invincible yet, I cannot say enough good things about this show. This is perhaps one of my favorite shows of all time. I am such a big fan, and I do recommend you give it a chance. I've rewatched season one half a dozen times at least. I remember rewatching it like with each different friend just because they were interested in it, and I already finished it. So we sat down, watched it all several times. I am looking forward to rewatching season two because I do want to go back and binge it instead of doing the week by week format to see if my opinions of it change. Because I do think it will be better binging it because there are a lot of scenes in this show that may seem throwaway at first, like even when I said in the finale, but may come back later and set more things up, which I do want to see in the binging format just because I think it's so cool. I like seeing everything that ties together. But let me know what you guys think about Invincible season 2. I love the show so much. I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys say. And if you enjoyed this video, you can check out this video right here, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.